Okay, I'm ready. Ready?
Okay.
Where do I begin?
Do you want me to look in the camera?
I want you to look right to that red light, right there.
Right at the red light. Huh?
Right at the red light.
Okay.
Just stare at it until you become hypnotized that you're on Rick's Corner. All right, here we go.
I'm in Rick's Corner.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. I have Jim Arrington on today. I've had him on before, and it's been a while, and I ran into him down at Gold's. I've been trying to reach him, but he never answers his phone for some reason.
Right.
But I brought him back because he raises the bar for all you guys out there. You guys in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, and even 70s always ask me, how do I get to train? How can I get back into it? How do I begin? How do I get the motivation? I laid off for 5 years, and I want to start back. I get this all the time. Well, Jim's one of these guys that's never stopped, and he's 83 years old, and he still competes, and he's still in great shape. So there's hope for all of you. And I just got off the phone with some of my friends I grew up with, and one of them I told them about it. And I can't get those guys to get out of the house to even go to the gym anymore. And so many people in their 60s and 70s and even 50s just lose their inspiration, right?
Oh yeah.
You started training what age?
I was 15.
Okay.
Steve Reeves was Mr. America in 1947.
Was he your inspiration?
He was no, not necessarily. He was an inspiration, but what was an inspiration to me is once I was when I was about 12, I was in this drugstore, where they have the comic books and all that stuff. Yeah. And I saw a magazine with huge guys on it. I looked at them and says, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And I said, the thing that really got, even their forearms were, they're just big, but their forearms were so big too. It's kind of like Popeye, but with the rest of them the same.
I have a theory about that. I just talked about this last week. Forearms and calves are hard to grow unless you're genetically built with them. It takes a lot to center in them. However, when I was in my teens, my dad had a mechanic that he used to go to, and the guy worked out of his, he had a garage behind a mortuary of all places, a dirt floor, one guy by himself. He was kind of scary. He'd give you that evil, and I just was afraid to take my car in, but he had these huge forearms. And what it was from is back in those days, they didn't have power tools. Screwdrivers and wrenches and screwdrivers and twisting and turning, and it's always the hands every day, and the forearms just grew.
Yeah.
You can't really apply that to weightlifting because you can't work out every day like that or you'll just get beat down. Mm-hmm. But that particular muscle, I think calves and forearms, you can train a lot harder because they're so dense. Mm-hmm. And then maybe they'll grow. But, it doesn't happen to everybody.
No, including me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they got up and they went down. So it's just one of those things. But when you see good forearms, it's definitely inspiring to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I'd always liked Bill Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was a good example of a bodybuilder. He really had everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was the example.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, I wanted to be Mr. America that year. Of course, this was 5 years before that. So I'll train and stuff. I'm going to college, and all I'm doing here is training. Yeah. And so I just this year is mine. Whatever it was, 53 or 50, we're in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I discovered I didn't have the genetics because my bones are so small.
Yeah.
To really get the size to be competitive at that age.
He just had muscle on top of muscle.
Oh yeah, and so that's. So there's Bill Pearl.
Well, I always say back in those days, really, the drugs weren't even predominant back then. There was very little to go by.
Yeah.
I don't think there was much. There was D-ball around. I think that was it.
There wasn't anything when I started.
No,
nothing.
I posted some pictures of Clancy Ross. I found a game show or some sort of TV show he was on. He had a tremendous body, and I don't think there was many drugs back then when he was in.
I don't think there was any.
No.
The drugs started about 1960.
Yeah, that's when I heard about Dynaball, 1960.
Yeah, about 1960, and before then, there was anything. This guy, Bob Weiss, that was the weightlifting guy, the Maverick Barbell Company.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Well, his son, it was Bob Weiss Jr., was a real skinny kid. And I was into overhead lifting for a while, And then I got out of that. And the next time I saw him, maybe 5 years later, the guy was way over 200 pounds.
From what?
Steroids.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was amazing what
they don't work by themselves, but if you train hard and you eat right, they'll work.
Yeah, I guess.
You can't just take it alone and say, okay, I'm going to be muscular. It doesn't happen like that. So you started at 15, and
I started 15.
Did you know how to work out, or you just kind of like?
What I did, I sent away to George Jowett. How to build this and that next thing, and so I sent the 25 cents, and they got a bunch of little booklets how to build the chest and arms and so on and so forth. Yeah. And I did all that, and I went from 115 to 128 in a very short period of time.
Really?
Without increasing my calorie intake, because my parents were kind of limited.
Well, how'd you work out? How many days a week were you training? What did they tell you?
I don't know. I didn't have any weights. All I had was a couple of 3-pound ball bearings.
Yeah.
Bearing balls. And I just did all the exercises with that.
And it worked.
Yeah, right.
I was talking about that because gyms today are so elaborate with all the equipment they have and all these different times of workouts the trainers are giving them with balls and core and this and that. And I started at the YMCA when it had minimal stuff. You had to put together the dumbbells. The big bars were bent. The cable machine was broken half the time. And the calf machine, there was weights that sway back and forth and hit you in the shins when you go up and down on them. But it just goes to prove that you don't need a lot to get in good shape if you focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, I did it in when I went to college. After about 3 years of training, they wouldn't even allow weights on campus.
Why?
Well, they thought it was bad for you.
Really?
And so the only way I could get my weights was to put them in a box with a lock, and they had it at the back of the gym, and I had to keep it locked, and don't let anybody else mess with them. And I was training back. And then the second, when I was a sophomore, they wouldn't even let me do that, so I had to train in the.
That's so narrow-minded back then. That was very narrow-minded. Bodybuilders were considered freaks back then in the 50s. If you went to the gym, you were a narcissist, and you were stupid, and you were a muscle head, and even the movies would put you in dumb roles because they didn't think you had any brains.
Yeah.
Yet it took brains to train and get in shape. You didn't just do it just by doing it.
Right.
How was your diet back then?
It was just whatever thing it was. Now, I grew up in what's now Cerritos, which at that time was a dairy industry. When I moved there in '38, there were more cows than there were people, and so I drank lots of milk.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
But I always had a lot of mucus and stuff, and so
from the milk.
Well, not so. It's not maybe, but so they gave me some allergy tests when I was 11. And you go up and down, and they discovered that I was allergic to everything but beef.
Really?
Yeah, and just slightly allergic to milk. So I like beef, and I like milk.
Well, back then, milk was the thing that you're supposed to drink to get huge, and now today, what you stay away from because you get fat. So it's changed a lot.
That's right. When I first really made a concerted effort to get a physique, I drank a gallon of milk, and I had about 1.5 pounds of meat, and cottage cheese, and other stuff. 300. It was 300. It was 300 grams of protein a day. So that's what you need.
That's a lot of grams.
Yeah, it was.
I remember doing 200.
Yeah, no, I did 300, and I went from 150 up to 215 in less than a year. But a lot of that was fat. I started with a 32-inch waist and ended up with a 38-inch.
Yeah.
But then I trained down. Yeah. I trained down 35 pounds in 56 days. But I still had a 32-inch waist.
How'd you do that?
I cut out the milk and added more cottage cheese.
I talked to somebody about that. It was Clarence Bass, and he told me when he cut out cottage cheese, he ended up cutting out a lot of body fat because it had so much sodium in it.
Oh.
He told me that just a few months ago. He said, I dropped in 3 days all this water from the no cottage cheese.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I never knew that. I never had that much sodium. I like cottage cheese.
Yeah, I do too.
I had it at lunch today because it's a good source of protein.
Yeah, so did I.
When you advance, let's say you're in your 20s now, you're still training?
Yeah.
Did you ever take time off?
Well, yeah. When I got married, I took some time off.
How much time?
Never more than 2 or 3 years.
That's a lot.
At a time, yeah.
That's a long time to do.
I probably have taken at the most maybe 20 years off ever since I've been training, which was 65 years. So.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever taken more than a week or two off, unless I had a surgery and I had to take 3 weeks off. But even then, I was pushing it.
Yeah, no, I love to train, but not that much.
Was it hard to get back?
No. Think it changed your life. I love training.
Did you feel like you lost a lot during that time off?
Oh yeah, I always goes back down to 150.
Yeah.
And then normally when I was young, and like around under 30, I would, if I didn't train at all and just ate normal, I would go down to 150 pounds. And then if I trained, and eat a lot, and I wouldn't get fat, but I'd go up to about 170.
Wow.
And then I stayed. So I kind of switched back up to a couple 100 pounds several times.
Interesting. Over the years, we have like decades. Let's say we're in our 20s and our 30s, our body changes a little bit. In the 40s, it changes a little bit more. In the 50s, it starts to fall apart a little bit. So I'm hearing from a lot of guys that I'm 50 years old and things aren't the same. I don't have the strength. I don't get a pump in the gym like I used to. And at 60, it changes again. And at 70, for me, it changes again. I mean, I can't do what I did when I was in my 30s. I can still hit a pretty intense workout. I don't have to hit the heavy weights anymore. I just don't think that's necessary to you.
No, well, I can't, because when I train heavy, things start falling apart.
Exactly.
I got my biceps here cut.
The tore?
Tore, yeah. And it looks better flexed now because it's
well, when it's torn, it has a big peak on it. I tore my tricep like that, never had to reattach, but I've just talked to several people recently that have torn all kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
It's I didn't hear about this years ago, but I hear about it more and more now, and I think it's over the years of training heavy.
Yeah.
Like Ronnie Coleman's can't even walk right now, I heard.
Yeah, well, he did get hips and knees though. I saw him at the Olympia last year. And he was, I guess it was last year, he was on the crutches.
Yeah, he was doing all the heavy lifting, he said.
Yeah.
We've all been there because we all want to lift heavy. We want to see what our records are. We want to hit a heavy bench and heavy squat because that's just part of training, and you're not going to change it. And we've got to do it at least once or twice in our life to figure out where we are. And then you can draw back and start training moderate and start training to build muscle and just sculpt it and make it into something without having to kill it. And I think even training heavy back in those days, strength was up, but it didn't add a lot to the muscle. It was just made it sore, made the joint sore. Mm-hmm. So now you started competing when?
1978.
How old were you then?
45.
You started late.
Yeah. Well, I was going to do it in 1960, and I was going to compete in the Mr. Los Angeles, and that's when I gained all the weight, and I did tanning all during the summer, and then when it got to be the winter time,
we have pictures of some of that, right?
I have pictures. Yeah, I have pictures. I have a picture of it, and then I bought these these sun lamps, and I did all that stuff, and then I cut down all this weight, and I said, I'm still, even back then I didn't have enough abs to make it worth. I said, no, I'm not going to embarrass myself. But that was at the Embassy Auditorium.
I remember I was down there.
Yeah,
that's when they first started running the shows.
Yeah, they had the Embassy was where most of that stuff was.
Yeah, that was the place.
And of course, it was after about 3 hours of Olympic lifting.
Yeah,
because the Southern California Weightlifting Association.
They had all that, and they had all the it was a whole day's process.
Yeah.
So you'd come down at night for the show, and even then it was a process. That was fun times, though. So you competed, and how'd you do?
Well, at this Mr. Miracle Over 40, which they had down at Muscle Beach, out of about 15 competitors, I came in second overall and won most muscular man.
That's excellent.
And so I said, hey, this might be working out.
You're right.
Because every time I would ask somebody, like John Verbotnik, who was my first
very well.
Gym owner, I asked him, well, do I have the potential to go all the way? And he wouldn't say anything. And Artie Zeller, I asked him, do you think I have some potential? No. But there was one guy that said I had potential, and we just visited his memorial.
Did you? Oh, Jim?
Jim Morris.
What do you think the problem was? You didn't have enough size?
Yeah. Size, mainly size.
You weren't doing any drugs at all?
No, I didn't.
It's all natural, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah. Then it was all.
Yeah.
That was all natural, and I didn't take any replacements till about 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all just all.
Yeah, a lot of it was. I know a lot of guys I trained with back then. It's just we're all natural. We just trained hard.
Yeah.
Hard, heavy workouts and a lot of food.
Yeah.
And sometimes twice a day, and eating was like scheduled. And everybody says, "How'd you train back then? And what did you take?" Well, like you said, there wasn't much to take. There was a little bit of stuff, but nothing like it is today.
Yeah. No, there wasn't. What was a big supplement for us was they started Bob Hoffman started that soy.
Yeah.
Soy that occurs. I'm allergic to soy.
I can't take it either.
Yeah, and it's.
But they had different. In fact, Bob Hoffman's protein. This is really funny. You spell protein protein, but if you look on Hoffman's can, it's pronounced or spelled proteen, like protein.
Really?
Yeah, because he couldn't really call it protein because it really wasn't.
Oh.
And then Weir came out with his blend of protein, and what I know about Joe, and I knew him well, that he would advertise a product before he would produce it and see if it got any response. If it started to get response, then he would begin to produce it. But he didn't want to invest money in something if it wasn't going to sell.
Yeah.
And that's how that worked. Then he had Real Blair. I don't know if you guys heard of Real Blair, but Real Blair's protein was a lot of the stuff that Vince Gironda, Larry Scott, Don Harworth, all those guys trained on. And Arnold got me involved with Real Blair, and I went over there, and since I would endorse his product, I got the stuff for free.
Uh-huh.
Well, his protein today is like $300 for, I'm sorry, I got a sore hip. That hurt. $300 for a big can of it. I mean, it's very expensive.
Good guy.
Yeah, it's very expensive, and it was good stuff. And his idea was, you make my protein, and you mix it with cream. You have the cream with the fats for energy, and you have the protein to build. There's no carbs. And that's what Scott and Howard and all those guys did. And everybody gained on it, but you can't find it today. Today there's so many different types of protein, I don't know what's what anymore.
Yeah.
So I just try to stick to real food.
Yeah.
Do you take a supplement?
Oh yeah, I practically live on that.
Do you?
On that Optimum.
Good stuff.
Yeah. They've changed the formula a little bit, but and it tastes more like other people's protein, but still, I've got used to it already.
Yeah.
I can buy 10 pounds a month.
Yeah. It's sometimes good to switch it up because your body adjusts to things. And then I was told, and I always take protein and post-workout drink, and someone told me a while back, and I don't know if I knew it or not, they said, no, you need a little glycogen with that. You need some sugar with that protein after you train because your body used up all the glycogen, and the muscle working out, you got to replace it. So they said, add some sugar to your protein, add some Waxamase or apple juice or something like that. So I did, and it did make a difference.
I use the cheapest corn syrup I can get.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about, though. But it makes a difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So your last competition was when? Venice?
My last competition. No, my last competition was in Venice for the Muscle Beach Championship. Mm-hmm. And
that's when you had the red trunks.
I don't remember. Is that the one? That's that the one?
Those are pictures I have, and you're real tan. But you look great.
Yeah. Thanks.
And you were what? You were 80, still 83 then, or 82?
Yeah. Right. I was 83. I got a list that I'll show you later of all the competitions I've done. It ended up at 62.
Really? Well, that's what keeps you motivated, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. There's two things that motivate me, aside from enjoying what I look like when I have a pump. I can't
yeah, of course.
As long as nobody takes a picture. I don't care if people take pictures of me. Just don't show me.
Yeah, I know.
But finally, I got it through my head that, well, it's not my physique that inspires people, because people say that I'm inspiring them all the time. But it's not my physique. It's the fact that it's my age.
That's so true, because I get the same thing. The people say, oh, you're in great shape, you look great. Yeah, and to them, I do, and to me, I look in the mirror and say, no, I don't look like I did when I was 30. And I'm never going to look like I did when I was 30. It just doesn't happen. But I'm okay at 71. And people will say, but it's inspiring that you get up every day like you, and you go to the gym. Well, I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I'm busy with this, and I have jobs, and I have things on projects. But my main thing is to get up in the morning, have my breakfast, feed my animals, and go to the gym. That's my office. That's where I train. That's where I meet people. That's where I get contacts for this show. That's where I get all kinds of jobs for commercials and TV work and all that. And then I go to lunch, and I come home, and then I work on my stuff. So by going every day, it's like just part of your constitution, like going to the toilet or brushing your teeth. You go and you work out and you leave.
Well, that's the thing about the bodybuilder is if you're an obsessive, compulsive personality, you're and you like bodybuilding, you're right in the right place.
Exactly.
Because if you do something and it's a routine, you get in the routine, that's fine. If you don't, if you get out of the routine, well, then you're kind of so, well, what am I doing? I don't like this.
It's a little hard. Not for me really, but in some relationships, when women see the guy goes to the gym every day, don't you do anything else besides go to the gym? Can't you just be with me? I've had that in my past girlfriends. Yeah, I can when I'm done at the gym.
Yeah.
But let me go to the gym first. This is what I like.
Yeah.
This is what you were attracted to. Don't try to take it away from me.
Yeah.
Because they all do that. They want to change you. Oh, you're too big and you don't need to do this anymore. And what are you doing it for? So other women look at you. No, I do it for myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel good. And that's the whole key. And of course, diet is key. Do you stay on your diet now at your age?
Oh, yeah. I have virtually the same diet almost all the time.
I do too.
And
people say, "Don't you get bored with that?"
No.
People ask me that. Aren't you bored? Yeah,
well,
I am. I'm bored. I'll go to In-N-Out once in a while.
Yeah, if I have cordon bleu every day, I get tired.
It doesn't matter what you're going to get bored with it at some point.
Yeah, of course.
Do you eat a lot of meat, or do you eat chicken or fish?
I eat all three.
I do too.
Yeah.
Is there any time you've ever taken more than others? Like for example, the meat gets to you after a while. You ever do all fish for a while?
No, but I don't eat that much meat.
I did it for a year.
Did you?
I went to fish for a year. Actually, got ripped.
Oh.
It was really a good diet. It was very easy to digest. And I did chicken forever, but I get tired of that too.
When in college, when I was training for botanics, they, he said you can eat as much as a pound at a time. Mm-hmm. And so that this happens. Back then, they had a place that there's a meat market, a little meat market, neighborhood meat market that sold exclusively horse meat.
Oh boy.
Government inspected horse meat. So it was it was cheap enough that a college guy could afford it. And so I was living off campus at the time, so I got it ground stuff, and it was good.
It's funny, I remember hearing this when I was living in Santa Monica years ago, that a lot of the elderly didn't have any money. They would buy horse meat to live on because it was just the same protein. It was a little bit tougher, but it worked.
Yeah, it was. I don't recall what it really tastes like. It's been so long.
What gym are you training at now?
Gold's.
In Venice.
In Venice, yeah.
That's where I always see you.
Yeah, right. That's where I train.
Which reminds me, I want to read this real quick. Many of you people out there want to become interested in fitness and nutrition, maybe become a trainer. And there's a lot of trainers around. There's a lot of trainers in Venice. There's a lot of trainers at my gym. But today you got to be certified. And NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, can do that. They can certify you, and it's a good way to go because they're the number one company in the world that's recognized for trainers. And if you want to try it, if you go on mytrainerusa.com/Rick, you can get a 14-day free trial of their certification and see how you like it. They're a good company, and I've looked into it, and I've had several people on here trained by them. So take a look at it and go to myusatrainer.com/Rick. Take the 14-day free trial. Why not? I mean, it's free, and become a trainer and maybe make some money, right?
Yeah. I
mean, there's a lot of trainers, but if you're good and you're honest, you can make some money at it.
Yeah, that'd be
so
good.
That's why I just wanted to relay that message. And also, World Gym is one of my sponsors, and they have an ambassadorship of a couple of people that go around and do seminars. And now they're doing on their website. Actually, I'm going to post one of them. They do a weekly workout of each body part. They have a trainer do like a chest day or a back day or whatever. So once a week, I'm going to post that link on my show, and maybe you can learn something from them because everybody needs a new way to understand and do exercise. There's so many ways to do things that watching videos is the best way to learn. If I want to learn something on editing on my show, I go to YouTube and I'll watch a tutorial. Jeez, by the time I'm done, I learned something.
Right.
So the World Gym thing is pretty cool. It's an ambassadorship, and the link will be on my description of my show if you want to go there and look at it.
Is that the original?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is something I offered. I've been doing for a month. The original Gold's Gym logo, which I did for Gold's, is on a shirt, and it's worldwide. And my girlfriend said to me, "Why don't you offer the drawing to people? They can frame it, put it on their wall. Draw each one individually, address it to them, or autograph it to them, and signed by you. Each one's a little bit different because I can't draw the same way every time. And so, I've probably sold close to 100 of these.
Those are all original?
All original. I take my tablet right here, and if you order one, I'll draw it up, sign it to you, ship it off, and you can hang it on your wall in a nice frame. I've been posting people on my show and on my Facebook have ordered these, and I put them on their wall. I take a picture, and if you want to order one, I'll put your picture up there too and give you recognition that you bought this logo designed for you.
How about the World Gym?
I haven't done the World Gym. I don't really have the right to do that one, even though I designed it.
Yeah.
But I do have the rights to gold, so I can do what I want with it. It's kind of nice.
You know, I think I told you before about Joe Gold when he opened his gym, the World Gym, and he said he's got this logo, and it was a guy doing a double biceps. He says, now I know Drasin is going to send me something, but this is final. And then a little while later, there was that absolute genius logo that Rick designed with the gorilla.
And Joe took it.
Oh yeah, he said, he wasn't stupid by any means.
Yeah, no, he liked it. Yeah, that's how the world works. I mean, it's just how it works. I go down to Venice to train when I saw you. I go every once in a while on a Sunday, but it's just a drive for me anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the reason, one of the main reasons that I train there. Because I got a real good gym at home. Mm-hmm. It's on the video if you wanted to see it on. And but there you can see everybody. Yeah. You see the people that see you, and people see things that you did. Almost every day, somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I saw you on a video." And just the other day, a guy said, "I saw you on Rick." I asked him which one did you see. He says, "I saw one with Rick." Yeah. And that's been a couple of years ago.
I've got a lot of viewers, and it grows every day. And I have a lot of people write me and say, "I watch your show over and over all day long for inspiration." So they do watch you.
Oh yeah.
And this is good because you set an example for a lot of the guys out there. You're way ahead of most of the guys in where they want to be one day. And if you set the example, it shows them they don't have to sit home. They can go to the gym. They can work out. They can feel better. And what's the best thing for depression, or you're not feeling good about yourself, or you don't feel like motivated? You go to the gym and you walk out of there, you feel great.
Oh yeah.
It opens your mind. It opens your body. Even with surgeries, I had torn my quads, and I got there every day in a wheelchair and a walker. And people said, "Why aren't you home sitting down?" I said, "Doing what? Feeling sorry for myself?"
Yeah.
I healed in half the time. I'm working out, having a good time, going for coffee. I come home, I got my walker. The next thing I know, my doctor says, "Geez, you healed fast." Because I'm training.
Yeah.
The blood's circulating, it's firing up. And so it is motivating. And I know you told me one day you're never going to stop.
No.
Why?
No. You asked me the last time. He says, "Well, you're not into short-term goals. What's your long-term goals?" Remember?
Yeah.
And I said something to the fact, well, maybe I could win about 10 more of these over 80.
Someone says, at my age, I don't have long-term. They're short-term goals.
Right.
But there's no limit.
And so what I did was win another one. So I got 3 now, and I decided to go pro and activate my IFBB card.
Right, at 83.
At 83, yeah.
That's right.
And Cormera said that this is the oldest guy to go pro, and so God willing, I'll be at the Pittsburgh Pro in August.
That's right.
August 31st, the day before my 84th birthday.
That's really inspirational to me. I mean, I got something to look forward to.
Yeah. And so many, and if you think of a moment or two, so many of the people are passing. Yeah. Leroy Colbert,
right?
Friend, a guy really got me started in these videos. Right. With Jason Ellis.
Right.
And he fell down and killed himself. Not on purpose.
Well, what happened is he fell, he hit his head, and it busted his jaw, his head, and he laid there for quite a while. I used to talk to him. He'd call me. We'd talk for hours. And I go down to the store and talk for hours. Just a wonderful man. A very giving guy. And when I heard that, it just broke my heart because what a sad way to go. There was no one that could find him. You fall. The thing. I fall and I can't get up. Yeah. Well, no one was there, and it's just really sad that it happened like that. And then recently, Jim Morris, who was a good friend of ours as well.
Yeah, and Jim, as I mentioned, Jim was the guy that started me bodybuilding. As a competitive bodybuilding. And it's to have 2 guys like that, both in their 80s, to lose that, it was kind of upsetting. Ellis has a fund that he's got at.
He does.
Yeah, at you could probably see something. May I give the at. Was the my Yorkie Lover
my Yorkie Lover fitness is on YouTube. My Yorkie Lover fitness on YouTube. Yeah, that's a fund for Leroy Colbert.
Yeah, he has a fund going there. They're trying to get him he has the ashes, and he's trying to get them at a important cemetery in Hollywood where a lot of famous
That would be nice.
people.
That would be nice.
And and then I think they shipped Jim Morris back to the.
I heard his mother was still alive.
They wanted to go back to somewhere, South Carolina or someplace.
Yeah.
I
mean, he was 80 and his mom was still alive.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's something.
That's something.
That's something.
Well, where can we find you? You're on the internet?
No.
You did a low profile?
Yeah, well.
Too many women are after him at his age.
Yeah,
Listen, at 83, when you're in this kind of shape, and if you were to go on a dating website, you would get all the 1900-year-olds. But I know you don't want to date anybody that's older than you.
Right. And
Neither do I.
I like them younger too.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But of course, I've been married for the last 38 years.
Yeah, so you're good to go that way. It's just funny. People said to me one day, "Wait, what's your age range in dating women?" I said, "Anybody younger than me." It doesn't matter anymore. Well, I want to thank you for being here. It's always interesting. We're going to put some pictures up of you, and it's nice that you come on and share your experiences.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, I'm just into it to help everybody else out.
Right. The man calls me. He's right on time. 2:00. He's here at 2:00. So I appreciate that because so many people aren't punctual.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tend. In fact, I was sitting down the street waiting for that thing to open up so I can park.
Oh yeah, we have the no parking until 2:00 on Tuesdays. So at 2:00 they go. He can park right up front here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching Rick's Corner. Be sure and follow Jim in his career. He's not done for another 20, 30 years. So I think he'll be the first 100-year-old in Venice Beach to get an award and get a trophy and probably the Hall of Fame, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, we'll see you next time and stay tuned for more.
It's rickdrasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.